I'm a psychologist. I am fascinated by what makes people tick.
Back with my co-host, clinical and forensic psychologist Cheryl Arutt.
Clinical and forensic psychologist Dr. Cheryl Arutt.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Cheryl Arutt.
Clinical and forensic psychologist Cheryl Arutt.
Let's go to the specialist. Joining me out of LA, Cheryl Arutt, clinical and forensic psychologist, PTSD specialist.
Well, thank you, Nancy.
Dr. Cheryl Arutt, 20 years experience treating victims of trauma.
I'm going to turn to the expert right now with psychologist Dr. Cheryl Arutt.
We're going to show some of the magazine covers you graced as a child actress in a second as you talk about this.
There are people who grow up in the entertainment industry and are able to do it in a healthy way and keep a good head on their shoulders and be protected. And kids really need protection.
When you create a multi-million-dollar incentive for someone to be unwell, they are going to remain unwell. That's a recipe for trauma. It's not a treatment.
EMDR is an evidence-based effective therapy for trauma and PTSD that has been around for about 30 years. Anytime a celebrity can share something inspiring about something that has really helped them, people are going to listen. Harvey Weinstein now is one of a series of men who people thought were too big to confront. When I hear about actors standing up on behalf of the women who've been harassed, I think that that takes a lot of courage and strength too. And I'm glad to see more men speaking out.
We have this idea that male sexuality is like a freight train. It just doesn't stop. If you were at a girl's house and something were going on and her dad walked in, would the guy go, sorry, I'm a freight train, can't, or would he be like across the room pulling his clothes on? There is no epidemic of false accusation. There's an epidemic of unreported rapes with that. You know, if something really awful happens, you ask how they're doing. Oh, I'm fine, right? What do actors say? Oh, I'm gonna use this, right? If you are an actor, you are your instrument. The greater access you have to your whole self without having to numb out or phase out or drug yourself is going to give you like more octaves of range.
This expert witness actually said in a court of law that sex causes memory loss.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Cheryl,
you got back me up on that?
I think this is the first time I've heard of a doctor saying that someone actually intercoursed someone's brains out. As a brain scientist, I have to say that this is a pretty exciting time in terms of brain injury. You've got a really soft organ in a really hard case, and when you bang it over and over again, it starts to fall apart. So I think Chris is actually demonstrating the intelligence that he's looking to protect.
Jeff, can I just thank you for giving me a deeper understanding of the missionary position?
You're welcome.
I spoke with clinical psychologist Dr. Cheryl Arutt. There was a lot at that table.
Oh, so much at that table.
I got into a different kind of entanglement.
I think she's holding it as an entanglement to make her relationship with Will primary.
An entanglement?
Yes.
To quote Friends, but we were on a break, right?
Many celebrities have been vocal about their own battles with various mental health issues, including Lady Gaga, Selena Gomez, and The Rock. And now, psychologist Dr. Cheryl Arutt explains why this is affecting so many.
Clinical depression and anxiety are the most common mental health disorders. It is so important that we're talking about this, and it's so important that people who other people look up to and admire and have a platform are also talking about this because it reduces the stigma.
These young girls thought they were with a police officer who was lecturing them about safety. All of a sudden, they find themselves in a horrifyingly dangerous situation, but he also wanted to brag and gloat and be the best there ever was at being a serial killer. Lynn, this is an absolutely horrifying crime, but we need to remember that just because it's horrifying doesn't mean that we can look at these kids as adults. These are 12-year-old girls, and we need to remember that lots of mature kinds of parts of the brain are not even developed, they're not even under construction yet. And if we think about a borderline identity, her identity has sort of been compared to Jell-O, which will take on any shape of something that contains it. But if you remove that structure and you try to pick it up, it falls apart in your hands.
When does the fear stop? When do women feel like they can go into places and not be afraid of the men that they spend time with?
Thank you for your courage in sharing that. When it's acquaintance rape, it can make you doubt your own ability to tell who's okay, who's safe, who isn't. People can get better. So get help and talk to somebody.
This is a family of people who every single one of them is flawed, just like us. I think we're crying because this touches us.
You're going to be on my speed dial Super Bowl Sunday. Dr. Cheryl Arutt, thanks so much.